Good morning everybody, welcome to our 5-minute Friday. The idea is something you can do in your garden for 5 minutes which will make a big difference. Ironically, we started doing this after just before lockdown, and a lot of people have more than 5 minutes to spend in their garden, which is great. It still doesn't mean that we're going to stop the videos. Basically what it means is you're going to have more time to do more of these things, and realistically all we're doing to do it is to inspire you to get into the garden. Today we're going to be cutting back a plant to make it more presentable, to make it better. It works particularly well with herbs. As you know, we're herb specialists, herbs and chili specialists, but it works with loads and loads of plants as well. And most of us have got something in the garden. This is in a pot, or because it works as well in a pot, that looks a little bit like this, where there's nothing wrong with the plant, and this will flower, this will look nice, but it's not quite as pleasing as it could be, and it's not necessarily the best for the plant. And if you leave a plant like this over a period of time, it tends to get gradually worse, and then you get this sort of spindly look to it. Things that are famous for it are lavender. We always say to get people come to the shows and say to us that they've got a lavender that's gone a bit woody, and this is a cotton lavender, not related, and it happens with a lot of plants. So what we want to do is neaten it up, make it look a bit better. Then we're going to pot it up. We're going to take a few weeds that have probably grown in it over the period of time, take those out, pot it up, a bit of fresh compost, which is a bit of extra food, and it really will flourish. Tripping over my words today. Okay, so as you can see from here, we've got a few dead bits of the plant just there. We're going to take those out and we're going to cut this back a bit. So I'll start off by really looking at the plant and looking what we want to achieve. So I'm going to move this pot out of the way. I'm going to take some of those dead bits out. Help if I open the secateurs. Right. There. I'm doing it at a funny angle so you can see what I'm doing. Any dead bits here, I'm just taking out. I'm just going to put those there. And we're going to work our way round the plant, just getting any of the bits that I really don't want in there. I'm not so worried about the shape we're trying to achieve at the moment, because these bits were dead anyway. We don't want them in there. Often you'll get growth out of those dead bits right at the end, but that's not really what we're looking for. Okay. Now I'm starting to work my way around and cutting back the plant. When you cut back a plant, what actually happens is you force it to bush out a bit. It tends to make a much nicer plant. And with something like a herb, where often you'll want leaf growth, you'll get more leaves to use in your cooking. You'll get a bushier plant, and it just tends to look nicer. Something that flowers like this cotton lavender, you're not going to get flowers all over it. You're going to get flowers in a nice shape. So that's what we're looking for. We do this a lot before any of the flower shows. We do it a lot at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, depending what the plant is. And that's why we do. We're looking for a pleasing shape to the plant. So I'm just taking all the dead bits out. And as you know, I've tried to make these 5 minutes and normally come short. Probably going to go over time this week. Okay. It was actually a struggle finding something we hadn't cut back on the nursery. Right. Okay. So a lot of the dead is out of that plant. Just a bit over here. And I think it's well worth taking your time. Whenever you cut something off, you can't put it back. Okay, so a lot is done there, but it's not necessarily the shape I'm looking for the finished plant. So what I'm going to do now is be a little bit more careful about it. So I might take a part of the plant that I'm thinking of taking off and just take it away and look across the plant and think, do I really want to take that off? So I selected that. I'm not harming the plant. I can go back. If I don't cut it off, it's back, it's fine. You can then have another look, just double check that you want to take that off. And I think in this case, I am. This is a bigger stem. With something like this, I'm less worried about where I'm cutting, but naturally, as I watch myself doing it, I'm just doing it above a fresh bit of growth. And a plant like this, you can look right into it. Probably from the camera you can't tell, but there's fresh growth coming really far down, if we can zoom in there. So there's fresh growth there. So I could actually cut all the way back there if I wanted to, and the plant would then branch out, and you end up with a less woody looking plant. So I've taken that big one out. I'm looking at it again. As you'd expect, there's some dead bits I missed. When I say dead, that's technically probably not right. I think you know what I mean. I'm going to take these bits off the bottom here. Okay, again, I'm looking at this plant, so I'm taking that, thinking, do I want to take that bit off to make a nice shape? I think I'm going to. And you just carry on working your way around like this. Ironically, this video could be very, very quick or very, very slow. So much will depend on the plant you're cutting back and how cautious you want to be. I'd recommend being super cautious, because like I say, once you've taken it off, you ain't putting it back again. Okay, take another one off there and clean up some of the dead bits just off camera so you can't see what I'm doing. Right, so I could do lots more to that. And probably if I was doing it for the future, as in I was doing it for a show or something like that, I'd cut it back a lot more and I'd be more aggressive with it. But what I'd say to you is I'd probably leave it at this stage. You can come back to it tomorrow, you can come back to it in an hour's time. Plants settle remarkably quickly. Certainly if you left it till tomorrow, you'd be able to come back to that plant and think, oh no, I should have taken this bit off, for example, which I'd probably do now. You're not really losing a lot by waiting another day. So yeah, I'd do that. Okay, so when it comes to potting it up, giving it a bit of fresh compost, what I'm going to do is take it out of the pot. So there's a few bits of grass in here. I'm going to take this out of the pot. This is one of our plants that would have gone to Chelsea or Hampton Court, probably quite old. Squeeze in the pot. Be interesting to see where I can get this pot at all. Okay, I'm just going to pull it out. It's going to be easier for me to weed it while it's like this. This top layer of compost could come off, so I can weed it in quite an aggressive manner. And where you've got these tiny little weeds here, these tiny little bits of grass and stuff like that, you can actually scrape off the topsoil just to really get down to it. Make sure you've got the weeds off. Just rotating it around, taking those off. A weedless garden doesn't exist, but we'll do our best to get as much off as possible. Okay, so that leaves it like that. Okay, this one, I don't actually know how long it's been in the pot, but you can see it's been in there a while. So we're just going to very slightly tease out any roots, just like that. Nothing much. Not pot it with a bit of grass. And I'm not going into a much bigger pot. It is bigger, and volume of soil wise, it's a fair bit bigger, but it's not huge. We're not going into a huge pot. So what I do is I look at that just so I can judge how much soil I want to put in the base. Because I'm on a nursery, I don't actually know how hard it is to get hold of compost at the moment. and I genuinely don't. We've had some people say it's really easy. We've had some people email saying they can't get it anywhere. I think it would depend on the garden centres around you and places like that. If you make your own compost, be very, very cautious about being too rich. But if you're potting something up, you might be able to dig a little bit of soil out the garden or something like that. So you can be creative with it. It obviously depends on the plant you're potting up. So I put it there. That's come to a nice level. Harder to see on the camera, but I don't want it to be up here. That's obviously exaggerated. I don't want it to be above the level of soil it was, and I don't want it to be too much lower. A little bit lower is fine with something like this. I'm not pushing it down, but I'm just making sure it's settled. And then it's just a case of getting your hands a little bit dirty, which is the best thing about gardening, and filling in the gap around. Okay. Sometimes you have to shake it down. Try not to be as messy as I am with it. There we go. Okay, just a tiny bit more in there. Take your time with it, and that's what we're looking for. Once you've watered it, you might want to top it up with a bit more compost, a bit more soil, and go from there. Because this is fresh compost, it's got a bit of feed in it, and you'd be surprised how much a plant will romp away, but will really get away once you give it a bit more extra feed, a bit more extra compost. There. So just to give you an idea of why we do it and why you want to do it in your garden, we've got this. This is pineapple sage. If I turned up at a flower show with this, I probably wouldn't be going to a flower show again. But there's nothing wrong with this plant. Just needs cutting back. And this is the same age plant that has been cut back and allowed to grow a little bit. And this is what you can really gain from cutting your plants back. You end up with a nice plant. And something like this, if you're going to use it in teas or something like that, this pineapple sage, you've got loads more leaves than you probably ever get from something like that. It's still going to grow up, but the flowers are going to be up here. Still going to be a nice plant. So that's what you can do with it. Definitely well worth doing. So go around the garden, have a look, and go from there.